All right, what is going on, guys? This is Munir Lazuni, and today we have a super special production for you with our special guest, Mr. Ken Kirk. Now, quick background on this guy. I got to give him the intro that he is due because he is due for a very big intro. So, Ken and I, we go way back. I'm talking 2017, 2018. We worked at the same gym. He was also top in sales, top in training, absolutely crushed it. Absolutely amazing entrepreneur, fitness professional, fitness model, actor. I mean, the list goes on. Honestly, any skill set that you can think of, this guy has it. So I'm honored to have him on today. Ken, what are we doing today?
We're hitting chest today. We're really going to focus on getting a great contraction. We've been so sore. We already hit chest a lot earlier a few days ago, so we're really just focused on the mechanics of the movement. Really going to get a great pump, show you guys some great fundamentals when it comes to doing exercises. You don't always have to force and do a bunch of weight. Your body doesn't even realize how much weight you're doing, but it's feeling how it's contracting and how it's actually affecting that muscle group. So just focus and watch what we're doing, look at the mechanics, and you'll learn a lot today. It's going to be great. I'm definitely ready to vibe out.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, today's gonna be a great session. You know, I'm still sore. Ken is still sore. And that's the thing, guys. We don't have to beat up our joints every single day by going super heavy. Heavier weights will allow you to potentially contract harder with the muscle. However, if you don't have a good foundation of contracting, you need to build that first. Otherwise, you're just gonna be swinging around weights, putting pressure on your joints, but not actually developing the muscle. So today, since we're pretty sore, we're just gonna leverage the fact that we can get a really good pump, a really good contraction out of lighter weights. Again, this is advanced. It's funny because typically we'll have people train with contraction style in the beginning when they're just starting out, just so we set a good foundation. From there, strength training is going to be the primary driver of growth because once you've got the contraction down, that's how you increase intensity. But then when you become more advanced, and obviously we want to preserve our joints, that's when we start leveraging this style of training again to get just as good of a workout with lighter weights. So let's get after it, and we'll see you guys inside of the gym. Let's go.
Let's get it.
All right, welcome to the first workout today. So we're gonna be warming up for some incline bench, and one tip I always give to everybody always loves to start with their top weight because they're like, oh, I can't be seen lifting the bar. No. You gotta lift the bar first to lock in your technique, okay? So what you'll see is that both Ken and I, we're gonna start off with just the bar to lock in our technique. And watch, I'm going really slow. I'm making little adjustments in my posture so that when I get to the heavy weight, I'm not making those adjustments and risking my joints under a heavy load. So what I'm really focusing on here is pulling the bar apart, opening and stretching my chest, going slow, contracting the chest fully, getting even. That's a big one for me because I have a tendency to be uneven just like a lot of people, and just making sure I'm locking things in so I don't injure myself. So I'm using the right muscles. So I'm actually getting something out of my workout as opposed to just wasting my time kicking around but not actually making proper gains. So what I'd recommend for you is before you start a lift, make sure that you go nice and slow like this. I know it's tedious. It's the point of me showing this long shot here is make it tedious. Take the time to set your form, set your intentions, get your form right, get that activation. For this particular exercise, we want to make sure that the upper chest is active and that we're not feeling it at all in the shoulders. If you feel your shoulders at all when you're doing this, you know that you're doing it wrong. Oh, and then also when you do it with the bar, it shows you that you might need to lower the rack. Now, another thing I do as part of the warm-up is we do face pulls. Now, face pulls is a really important exercise. It's also my chance to flex and show off a little bit. But essentially, what we're doing here is we're getting a full contraction of the rear delts, the back, and all those back muscles active. See how I'm getting a full stretch to the bottom of the movement. I'm driving my thumbs back to really activate everything, my lower traps, my rear delts, my lats. This is what I credit a lot of my back development to, but also it's gonna help a ton with being able to stabilize your bench press and keep your shoulders safe. So try out these face pulls. Once you've got a couple slow reps, you can hit a couple faster reps for the pump to just really lock in that contraction and get that pump in your back. The more pumped your back is when you're training chest, the safer your chest will be and the less shoulder pain you'll experience. In fact, Manny, my video editor, he was having a lot of shoulder pain on his incline bench, and simply by activating his lats, we were able to completely fix all the shoulder problems that he'd had for months. Now, as you see, Ken is doing the same thing here. Ken's a little more humble. He's not showing off those guns, but as soon as he does, you guys will be blown away. The dude is absolutely jacked. Again, we're driving the thumbs back. We're getting external rotation in the shoulder joint, driving the hands back to get a full contraction in the back, the rear delts primarily, the lower traps, all that good stuff in the back. Now, next up, to help activate our back, we're gonna do some banded pull apart. So you're gonna see, I'm trying to replicate an incline bench motion here, and I'm pulling apart. This is gonna activate the rear delts and allow me to then transfer that activation, that movement, over to my incline bench, which will then help keep my shoulders safer. And then what I'm gonna do is take the exact same movement with a different band and use it in the actual same exact range of motion as I would for an incline bench to really lock that in so that once I add weight on there, I'm not gonna be feeling my shoulders at all. I have a past of plenty of shoulder issues, so it's definitely definitely something that I want to correct and avoid. And you see I'm getting a lot of tension, even though there's no weight, even though it's a light band. We're getting a ton of tension in the rear delts in that range of motion to make sure that when I am benching, I can pull it apart and just fully get my lats, fully get my rear delts, and take everything off the front of my shoulder. Because I'm telling you, the first 7 years of my life lifting, or my lifting life, I felt a ton of the shoulders in the front, and I could never develop my upper chest. So my lower chest would get big, but my upper chest never grew, so it looked like I had a pair of titties. It wasn't a good look. So again, I'm doing those pull-aparts in that range of motion, getting that active so that in the next scene, you're gonna see we're gonna be able to bench press with really, really good form. Back to the incline bench, we got some weight on there. Like we said, we're really sore, but we're still gonna get it in, and we're gonna get just as good a workout as a lot of people would just putting max weight on there, putting a ton of stress on their joints, even with light weights. A lot of my clients call this the lightweight burn, and it's one of the best ways for you to be able to get a ton of muscle growth without stressing out your joints over time, which means guess what? You can do this for a lifetime, which means you're not gonna be one of those old guys who says, oh, I used to lift, but now I have shoulder issues. No. You used to lift and you still lift and you're still in great shape. So again, I'm still going slow. Contraction style really demands that you go slow and fully get that full stretch, fully get that full contraction. And the funny thing is, as I'm watching this right now, I'm picking apart all these little flaws in my technique because again, I'm always trying to get better, always trying to make myself more even, always trying to put myself in a position where I'm putting less stress on my joints, more stress on the muscle, and therefore growing the muscle without injuring the joints over time. So again, one of the biggest reasons why people get chronic injuries is they don't use proper form, they don't use proper warm-ups, and they're always just ruining their body in the process of trying to build the body, right? We do need to break down the muscles a little bit, but at the same time, we need to preserve the joints, because if we break down the joints, well, obviously that's going to cause issues. The joints will get stronger over time, but joint damage takes a lot more time to recover from than muscle stress, and muscle stress is an essential part of muscle growth, and then of course muscle growth is going to accelerate fat loss. So next up, I'll show you Ken's form on this. Ken's actually got better form than I do on this. I'm fully humbled to admit that. And watch what he does. So he's getting a full stretch in his shoulders. And actually, he isn't going all the way down because he knows that if he goes lower than that, he's going to get the stress on his shoulders versus being able to keep the tension on his chest. So there is a method to the madness, and it isn't madness because, again, the guy is getting incredible chest development there. You can see that every position, he's owning every position of the range of motion, using his chest to control every position along that range. He's getting zero shoulder stress whatsoever, and guess what? This guy could incline bench 3 plates if he wanted to, yet he's still getting a good burn from 1 plate because we're contracting. We're contracting hard. You can see me in the background doing some face pulls, keeping my shoulders on point. Not showing off this time. But we got Ken here, and he's absolutely crushing it. All right, welcome to set number 2. So you're gonna see I'm gonna go a little bit faster on this set because now that things are warmed up, I've addressed my unevenness, I've watched my form and critiqued my own form. Now you're gonna see I'm a lot more even, so I'm not getting that weird unevenness where the left side was higher. And you can see I'm getting a much better stretch in my chest now that I'm warmed up. Now this is just evidence to show that imagine if I had jumped in cold to my max weight without actually warming up first, I would have been super uneven like I was in the last one. My form would have been crap versus right now my form's way better. Now that things are warmed up, I'm still keeping control and owning each position of the movement, but I'm going a little bit faster to get a little bit more pump, a little bit more blood volume in the muscle, okay? Again, I'm still contracting and really squeezing my chest, owning each position of the weight with my chest, but I'm going slightly faster, which you can now do now that you're properly warmed up. You're going to see similar from Ken. He's going slightly faster, although, like I said, Ken admittedly has better form than me on this, and he has even more control when he's doing the movement, which means, guess what? He's getting even more out of the time that he's putting into it. Now, Ken is a really tall guy. He's 6'4", so as you can see, his frame is a little bit longer and his range of motion is longer. Yet he's still exercising really good control. You can see his chest development is incredible, and he's getting a really, really good pump. Ken also doesn't do a whole lot of carbs, so the fact that he's getting this big of a pump without carbs in his system is amazing. The guy's got incredible discipline. Definitely check him out. He's a freaking beast. Now, next up, we got some dumbbell regular bench. This is a great follow-up movement to your regular bench press because when you've hit your upper chest, now when you're hitting your lower chest, your upper chest is already active, which means you're still going to get good activation, which means you're not going to develop that chest titty look that I had when I was 18 and I first started bench pressing and I got a big chest. Well, I'd been bench pressing for 3 years. When I finally learned how to train properly and eat properly, I got basically big titties, but I never actually developed a good upper chest, so I never had an aesthetic pec, right? So following up with this is going to be a game changer for this. Now, let me teach you guys how to do the form. So essentially what we're doing, same exact thing. We're stretching the chest. We're stretching the rib cage. Now, this is a big point that a lot of people neglect is stretching the rib cage. The more you can stretch your rib cage when you're bench pressing, the more leverage your chest has, the more stretch you can get in your chest, and the better contraction you can get in your chest as well. So you get a lot of people on the internet saying, oh, you need to bench press with a flat back or you're cheating, blah, blah, blah. That's BS. You don't want to bench press with a flat back. That actually puts a lot more stress on your shoulders, and you get a lot less of a stretch in your rib cage, which means guess what? You're not getting as much of a chest contraction. Sure, you can use more weight when you have an expanded chest, but that just allows you to get a better contraction once you've got the contraction foundations down anyways. The people who say flat bench because it's harder and it doesn't let you use as much weight, now that's BS. You want to actually have a big arch, expand your rib cage as much as you possibly can, retract your shoulders and fully stretch, and then contract your chest. I even like to hit the pause at the end just to make sure that everything is good. Okay? Now watch, you're gonna watch that Ken knows what he's doing too. He isn't trying to bench with a flat back or any of that BS, but rather he's getting a nice big stretch in his chest. He's got good control even when he goes heavier, and that allows him to get a really, really good chest contraction. You can see that his chest is getting a full stretch and a full contraction. He knows his exact range of motion, so he isn't going lower than he needs to. He's just going to the position where he has a maximal stretch and then a maximal contraction. So he's doing excellent work here. You can see obviously his rib cage is fully expanded, his shoulders are fully retracted, which is keeping his shoulders in a safe position. He isn't feeling his shoulders at all on this, only his chest. That's how you know you're doing it right. If you feel your shoulders, you're doing it wrong. If you feel your chest, you're doing it right. Now, the same applies to chest flies. As we get into chest flies, a lot of people, including myself, have a tendency to sometimes feel shoulders on this. And you're going to see that I've modified the range of motion. Again, I've had a history of shoulder issues since 2017 where I messed it up. But even 2010 to 2017 where I was lifting just with terrible form, no posture, no stretching, and completely messed up my shoulder and everything. So you see what Ken is doing here is he's keeping his shoulders back and down. He's getting a full stretch in his chest and a full contraction. He's doing very much a hugging the tree type motion. You're going to see him again versus with me to keep my shoulders a little bit safer. I initiate with that motion, but when I get to the bottom, I bend my elbows. Now you can see I'm deliberately controlling and contracting each position in the range of motion. The reason being that I need to be really, really careful with my shoulder. So I'm bending my elbow, going by feel, and allowing myself to really keep the control completely on the chest and minimize and prevent any of the pressure from going onto my shoulders. So again, if you don't have shoulder issues, I don't recommend using this range of motion, but if you do have shoulder issues, and this is pretty much the only range of motion you can do without messing up your shoulder. Now, obviously, if you have a good bodywork practitioner, they can help fix that before you lift, but for most of us, we're not gonna have that, including myself. So again, we wanna make sure that we're getting really, really good form. Now, if you don't have shoulder issues though, do what Ken is doing. He's getting a really, really good stretch, really, really good contraction, and he's doing the hugging the tree type motion. See, I see a lot of people who kind of just try to go straight up and down without doing that round motion, that kind of arced range of motion. But the arced range of motion is so key for activating the chest. And before I develop shoulder issues, this is what I would do as well, or when I have a good bodywork session beforehand, the hugging the tree motion allows you to get a really good full contraction and stretch in your chest. And I mean, it's pretty self-evident. Just look at Ken. You see his chest is controlling the whole movement. It's stretching, it's contracting, it's getting all of the activation here, okay? Now I'm gonna show you one more set from me, and then we're gonna wrap things up. But essentially, again, you can see that I'm getting the same stretch and contraction in my chest, but because my bicep tendon is really tight, which is where a lot of my shoulder issues originate from, I'm bending my elbow, which removes the amount of stress and stretch that we're getting in the bicep, which prevents that bicep tendon from getting impinged inside of my shoulder there. So that's another reason why I like to do the elbow bend, kind of just going by feel to make sure that the pressure stays completely on my chest, completely off my shoulders. There's kind of two components to getting a proper contraction. We dive into this in other videos in the channel. Highly recommend you check them out, where there's the going by feel, and there's also the joint cueing, like different cues that you can use to activate the right muscles. But go ahead and check out those other videos, and it'll give you a lot of insight into how exactly to do this, okay? Now, as we wrap up this video, what I want to do is just a couple stretches. Again, I always like to get into my shoulder capsule there. I'm stretching my shoulder, my lat, my rib cage, keeping everything open to ensure that I don't get injured, I don't get tight, I don't get stiff. And that is the workout for today. All right, what's up guys? We are here after the workout, just chilling, casual, relaxing, and I highly recommend you get into a relaxed state, which is gonna activate your parasympathetic nervous system as soon as you can after the workout, which is more of a sympathetic nervous system where you're more in a hyped state, because that's gonna help you recover more quickly. Now, Ken and I actually had such a great workout that we actually forgot to record an outro video. So here I am, a couple days later, giving you guys the outro and just saying thanks so much for watching that video. I really hope you got a lot of value out of it. Now, if you're on YouTube, just hit us with a subscribe and comment below. Let us know what you learned, what you liked, and what you'd like to see in a future video, maybe some questions or another topic. And of course, if you're on Facebook, just hit us with a like and a comment, and just drop a hashtag value if you got value from this. And of course, same thing with Facebook. Let us know in the comments what you learned and what you'd like to see future videos talk about. Again, Ken and I are super happy to do plenty more free value for you guys. We got plenty more knowledge where that came from. We're total nerds about the stuff. So we always love the comments, the questions, and anything else that we can do to serve you. So stay tuned, and we look forward to seeing you guys in our future videos.